Hi everyone, Wishboro here. Welcome to another episode of Wurm Unlimited Server Tour on TeamTORGA.com. This is episode 4, and today we're going to continue with part 2 of Lakeside Tour. Today we have Victor with us, who will be our guide, and we'll start at the token, and we'll see his part of the village as well as his tunnel system and whatever else he would like to show us. So let's get started. So there's Victor. Hi Victor.
Hello, how are you?
See, I'm trying to
Right.
Hello,
Ready?
how are
Is that
you?
what it is?
Yep. So
I didn't hear a spiel in front. So.
Oh, yeah. But
Alrighty.
we're ready. I introduced you already. You'll be our guide today for this part of the Lakeside tour.
Yep. We'll be touring my estate area that I've been working on. So just turn around and hop in my cart. And we're off.
So
Katrina doesn't like the tall hedges, but I do.
Yeah, he made some type of comment the other day. But just letting our viewers know, we started at the settlement token to give everybody a point of reference of where we are in the village, and now we're heading south on the village.
Once you exit that fence, you'll see a sign pointing to the left to the meadows. If you follow this road all the way around, it'll reach you to the meadows, soulstone, and the vendor. If you go to the right, we'll reach my estate. First building on the right would be our shipyard. Obviously it's still under construction, but we'll hop out and show you a quick tour. In here we have all my supplies needed for shipbuilding and some already completed ones waiting for purchase. The final product of the shipyard will look similar to this bay here, with the wooden bridge over top and the no floor above.
So I see you actually have 2 ships here that's marked for sale.
Well, this is an unfinished one, and then I have a Nar for sale, and then the Caravel. I have not decided whether I want to do the enclosed roof for the Caravel bay or not. It's gonna have to be a lot taller than this one.
And so for people who are interested in buying your ships, what's your asking price?
I usually ask for commodities. Like right now, I'm really in need of clay, so I told Bob in chat the other day that if he was interested in NAR, I was just asking for 200 lumps of clay, which was about 2,000 lumps of clay, which is about 4,000 weight in clay.
Very cool.
And we've got 3 bays total. The 3rd bay I use for my own personal ship, or NAR I should say. The reason you see ladders here is because in order to build a floor above, you have to have a floor below, and if you're not going to keep it there, this is the lowest resources needed.
I think I mentioned this in an earlier video, but this is actually, I think, a very good trick to work on with buildings.
This last little hallway on the left, you see the open dock with another caravel and 2 canoes, and then on the right you see my NAR.
Jenny 1.
Yes. Tried to paint it, but it hasn't really changed much.
Yeah, right now on my screen I can't really tell what color is it supposed to be.
I believe it's supposed to be white.
Ah, gotcha.
Yeah, the RGB is 219 out of 255, so all it did was lighten it up a little. I haven't decided exactly where I'm going to put the ladders or stairs, but the third floor, if you follow me up, this area here is going to be sort of like the shipwrights management office. You'll have windows to each bay, and then opening towards the outside. I'm guessing I'd have to go 2 more floors in order to go over the caravel, but I haven't done the math yet. And as you can see over here, it's still a work in progress.
Cool.
Back down to the street. Also, if you didn't notice, we have a little spirit castle out here once we figure out the mail system.
So, Def, if you play on a server and you want to, I guess either a caravel or a Narn, asking price is 2,000 clay.
Caravel might be a little more because it uses a lot more resources, but I'm always down. I'm always available for negotiation.
Gotcha. But I definitely think 2,000 is a very reasonable price for a Narn that's already fully built.
Right.
And it's very attainable for new players too, because you can dig clay at any level.
Exactly. And over here is going to be a little training area. I haven't put up an archery target because my archery is already too high, but it'll align with the road here to the left so that someone could shoot from as far out as they want. This is a beaching / boat launch, another unfinished Nar. I got a little overzealous and built 3 Nars at the same time. This giant monstrosity to the right, I've labeled my spire. We've got a few ivory trellises on the outside to bring some color. And I hope you're not easily dizzy, because we're going to go inside. I've only gotten 3 of the skulls, but others have the other ones. We've got a white, a red, and a blue. The
Nice greeting when you come in.
yeah, the decorations aren't done yet. I haven't quite figured out how I want to organize it, but I'm thinking of putting a library on this side. And then here in the center is the spiral staircase.
I'm assuming we're going to climb this, but I'll slowly pan up to just give the viewers a look from the bottom of what it looks like. Wow.
Oh, of course. Both staircases go all the way up, but we'll go one level at a time for the first couple because they each have, there's some balconies on the outside. This is our wide catwalk needed for observation, and put a few self-defense up here, even though they can't actually fire, but they're good for decoration. Now the walls on the inside of the spire are rendered walls, which is a plain stone wall covered in clay. I think it's designed so that you can paint it and have a flat base for it. The third floor here is just an enclosed area, no external view or exits. Fourth floor is our final low balcony, and you can look up to see the rest of the staircase on the outside. And then we slowly progress up, and up. Don't look down if you're afraid of heights.
Actually, I was going to say I'm going to stop a minute and actually look down for our viewers. I guess for some people it could be slightly disorienting. Personally, I like it.
Yeah, I added the little windows at each platform so that it's not quite as enclosed feeling. This is our first open slate bay area. I have the ropes here for safety. Once again, I'm still unsure of decorations for each level yet. This area will probably be the main area, since it's such a large area. This level and the level above are mirror images somewhat. I kind of offset a few of the windows though.
Peek out the window here.
And then one more level and we reach the top. This building is exactly 16 stories high. It's the tallest that you can build. If you go outside either door, you'll reach the open area air.
View to the north. View to the west. And view to the south. Cool. So this is the 16th floor, you said?
Yes. If you try to build a floor above it, it says you do not have enough carpentry skill to plan that floor. And my carpentry is at 99.7. So it will not let you build a floor above this. But thankfully it lets you build a roof.
Yes. The Colossus actually looks small from this height.
Yes, it was interesting to see as I was building it, the height difference. Another reason for my estate is I wanted to experiment with each of the different new walls and textures. Feel free to take either one down, and I'll meet you at the bottom.
Whee!
That bed is not going to stay there, but it fits rather well under a floor, ironically. It's the second hardest thing to make in the game. The hardest.
I'm sorry. The canopy bed was?
Yes. The hardest is the trebuchet. I believe it requires 80 or 90 fine carpentry. Continuing on around the bend, we come to my current undergo project, the chapel or church. Entering here, I'm still undecided on the floor, but as you can see, I have scaffolding above to put the roof in. And there will be a bell tower eventually, but I have, if you look behind us and up, you can see the unfinished spiral staircase where I'm starting the bell tower.
Gotcha. Now I noticed your sign says Church of 3. Was that a significance?
The 3 white light gods, right now we only have priests in 2 of them. But eventually I'm trying to get a silver altar of each of the 3 gods in this area.
Gotcha.
And continuing on around the bend more. On the left we have our tailor shop for cloth and dyes and leatherworking. This was my first building finished in the new estate area, so that's why there's a bed still in here.
I really like the new brick texture.
Over here in the corner, we have my blacksmith and masonry shop. The kiln is still burning from when I was making shingles. There's not much to see inside, but we'll go through the door here in a second.
Okay.
Here we have all our stones. Just trying to divide it up into what type of stone it is. And then there's a small area which may end up being a bedroom upstairs. And then we have our cart entrance to the back here for unloading the ore or stone. This is my back gate for the road around. We'll be taking this later.
I haven't played around with floors very much. What type of tile was the floor inside there?
I believe it was slate. Let me back up and check. Oh, it doesn't actually say, it just says floor.
Yep. Yeah, I tried mousing over it and it didn't say, and that's why I was curious.
Yeah, it's a slate slab floor.
Gotcha. Yeah, I don't think I've ever seen this texture in game before, so.
Around here we have the back side of the tailor shop, which is my beehives and hops and grape vineyard behind the tavern. Off to the right you see the high iron fences. Those were around the soulstone because when we first started on here, we were having a dragon hatchling problem and we thought that it was spawning at the soulstone. They're slowly starting to decay, as you can see from the gate that's rusted.
Dope.
Around here, we have to the right we have what is my farming area when I need it. Currently I have a bison in there for live animal target practice, but only when Stephanie's not on, because Steph does not like the sound of animals being hit. And to the left is our tavern with the open balcony. If you'll depart, we can go inside and I'll show you around a little. But currently we have one table and the still in the corner. If there was any way to make a bar, I would have it here, but I have a larder and a kitchen in the back.
Wow, that's a lot of wine.
Yes, well, not all of it's wine. Some of it is, most of it's sap, but there is a lot of different liquids in the barrels.
Cool.
When you seal them, they get their notation of what's inside. Up here, we have our little bedrooms for rent.
Just curious, are you actually charging people?
I haven't figured out how to set up each bed for like renting purposes, and it would be like a couple copper. The 3 more bedrooms on this side. The last bedroom with the double doors has access to a single balcony.
So this is a luxury suite, huh?
Yes.
Cool.
Heading back out, we'll continue on to the next building. At the end of the road here, we have my garage and crate storage. This is the paved brick, the paved slate stabs. slate slabs. Obviously, when you have horse-drawn carriages, you need to have it next to your stable. So the next building is my stable. Has six covered pens for diseased animals or pregnant animals to isolate them, so we can keep an eye on them easier. Grass does still grow, and then you have it exit out to the horse pens. Well, horse and buffalo are pasture. Buffalo are very skittish, so they will run if you unhitch them quickly. Around the corner here is the chicken coop area, which you may have seen from the tavern. Doesn't look like we have any eggs today. Sometimes you can spot them in a crate style because the grass is still piled up. And the last stop in this little estate, I've come to call the cloister, but I haven't really figured out the proper name for it. It's going to be a garden style enclosure, and I wanted to put a fountain in the middle, but the water source is nowhere to be found here, so it would have to be a decorative fountain. And that is the estate. If you want to continue, we can go on to my tunnel.
Yes, definitely.
So, go ahead.
Sorry, I was going to say I really like how you kept the grass in your stable. I think that was a nice touch.
In between the church and the spire, I have a couple ligonberry bushes that I've managed to procure, and it spreads the tundra.
So, did you plant those bushes, and then as it spreads, it creates the tundra tiles?
As soon as you plant it, it turns the tile into tundra because ligonberries only grow on tundra. The Wurmpedia says that they're not supposed to have sprouts, but sometimes you can pick the sprout, and that's how I was able to get it. Around here, we have the road around the bay. This canal can be reached both from this end and from the end, from the bridge closest to the settlement token, which you can see on the right in the distance.
Okay, and give me 1 minute. I'm just going to switch our viewers to the map to show them where they are on the map. Okay. So we just finished touring Viktor's portion of the settlement, which is down here with the spires, different workshops, and now we came along the south end, and we're probably roughly here, and we're about to go into a tunnel that you'll see if we switch over to the cave map. So we're right here, and then we're about to visit his impressive cave. So this should be very cool. Okay, thank you, Viktor.
Alright, are we ready to continue?
Yep.
Yes, this little walkway took a while to do because it used to be all mountain.
And I think so far on our tour, this is our first marble bridge.
I believe this is possibly the only marble bridge in the game. I don't know if anybody else has built one yet, but I just recently paved it to match the rest of the road, which was a new feature added. And here we come to our Colossus of Magrenon, right in front of the cave entrance.
Nice. Nice butt shot.
Have you shown them the cave map yet?
Yes.
Okay.
And just gave them a quick preview. So again, Victor.
In we shall go. As you can see, it's going to be a cart and boat canal underwater or underground. This is my largest ongoing project, which is side, but it's slowly getting finished. With the addition of the 2-tile wide cave entrances, it makes it easier for large boats to come through. We have copper braziers to light the way, and these standing tiles are the vanes that are going to could prevent the large boats from going through. Anyone with a cart and a pickaxe is free to mine any vein in this tunnel.
That would definitely help you out too.
Yes, very much so. I labeled all the veins that I found with the quality and sign.
So there's an example of a sandstone, maximum quality 61, you can see on the sign.
Yes, there's another sandstone here to the right, but I'm trying to avoid labeling most of the ones on the northern wall because that's going to be the trying to make that the northern border. This is the shallow water here is the second to last step in digging the canal to its depth. This is the intermediate process where it's flat to the cart path. Over here to the left is the southern branch. Let me light my lantern for us.
And I'm just going to switch over to the K map again real quick to show our viewers this southern extension. So here we are on the map, and we just came through the tunnel, as you can see, and what Victor is talking about now is a southern extension. We're standing right here, and I believe its eventual plan is to connect it and open up to the southern bay here.
Forgive the slow speed, I'm going to fill these and light them as we go.
And yeah, about these fancy lights in the cave. I usually, as you saw, I usually just use a regular old iron for my caves. Now I was going to ask you, the venture plan for the water portion is it's going to be deep enough for caravels to go through, correct?
Yes, I'm digging it to the deepest that the game will allow me in stone, and it should be passable by caravels. I don't know if you'll be passable on the past the veins, but we'll find out. There's a few clipping in the ceiling because I'm in the process of raising the cave floor because the most recent patch allowed a person of my mining skill to mine straight across without losing a slope. And so I'm trying to level it all out to increase the ceiling before lowering the floor. This is as far as I've reached so far. I believe this is still barely halfway to the end.
Yep, on the map. Yeah, on the K map it looks like you're just shy of halfway to breaking through. Some we're clipping that Victor.
The first step in the entire tunnel was mining it out, one tile, like this one is, and then expanding on that. The second part of the process was raising the ceiling, as you can see above. You don't want to lower the floor before you raise the ceiling, because you can only raise the ceiling so far, but you can lower the floor much further, as you could see from the tunnel. Out here on the main path is the part I've been working on lately. As we get deeper in, we're going to run into a lot more veins. It ranges from iron to gold to zinc in this tunnel.
So there's a 92 quality iron vein there.
Yes, and that one is a priority on mining out because it's in the middle. This is the, once again, before lowering the floor. Once the floor is lowered all the way out, I plan to reinforce the floors to minimize cave-ins, but since you have to destroy the reinforcements before you can lower it, we do it in this process. And now we start to reach the multi-veins.
So I have the tile outline turned off for the video, but I was just curious, can you see the height of the wall on our right here? Does it show you the slope? What I guess the slope?
It does not show the height of the wall. It'll only show the slope to the. Actually, let me try and change to my pickaxe. No, it doesn't show the height of the cave wall. It only shows the slope up to the level area up there, which is 21.
Gotcha.
And as you can see, iron, gold, gold, gold. Lots of gold veins. This is where I was working from the other end, leveling out. You can see there's still some stone piles from my work yesterday. The marble braziers are the current measurement tools. I used to have torches along the roadway, but I swapped them all out for the copper braziers.
So just like the other cave, when I mouse over, you can see that marble pillar says 180. So I'm assuming we're 180 tiles west into the tunnel.
Yes. Since I started it from Lakeside, I started the count from east to west. And here is the western entrance. This marble brazier wasn't marked because it's not an even 20, but the original cart exit here was collapsed by this iron vein right here.
Oh.
So I had to dig around it.
Based on that last marker, the tunnel is about 200 tiles long, basically.
It was 200 tiles when I first started, but in order to increase the size of the entrance on the east, I actually lowered the exit tiles, so I believe it's at about 197 tiles right now.
Gotcha. A very long tunnel, basically, and it's 4 tiles wide, in case you couldn't tell in the video.
Yes. I had been debating about putting a walkway on both sides, so that once the cave is finished, you could access the veins on the southern side. But that was before they allowed bridges in the tunnels, so that will be a long time away before I get to that.
Another perfect example how a project is almost never finished, it seems.
Now, something, if you're not a big fan of caves, there is a road that goes around this mountain that we just went under. We'll take that through the forest. That way you could also see where the southern exit is going to be. These willow trees are always getting in the way.
So it looks like now on the map we are, oh yes, we just popped out of the cave here and now we're heading south along this road.
I prefer to go straight north-south when possible when building my roads. And one major difference between myself and Patrina on building roads is I'm not as worried about trees on the side, so that's why you don't see sand lining the road.
Yeah, different design styles.
I also prefer to go as level slope as possible, but sometimes you run into the rock and it's more of a headache to clear more dirt to lower that rock than it is to just level it out. If you look ahead to the right, you can see one of the 3 pillars that have been created in this map. I believe this one is Winter Shield, yes. You can mouse over it from quite a distance.
Very cool.
So if your deity ever gives you a mission to perform a ritual at the Winter Shield, it is here, right on the water.
So on the map, it's right here. This is what we're looking at. We're coming south, and here's the Winter Shield.
This road continues south along the coast to the steep area in the southern end of the map where buffalo are, where we used to have to go for buffalo, but as you may have seen in the previous video, the Black Dragon is on the other steep area we've created. Going east, we continue around the mountain. This chestnut forest was very hard to keep on a straight path with no road. Well, that was before they decreased the size of the trunks. It's easier to see through now, but chestnuts used to be very hard to travel around.
Oh wow, before you mentioned that, I actually did not notice that they had reduced the size of the chestnut trunks.
Yes, they reduced the chestnut and olive trunks in one of the latest patches. I'm not quite sure who built this pen here. They have 2 sheeps. Oh, and a dead sheep.
Just a random pin by the road. That's funny.
Yep. And this is another thing that Patrina does not like to do. He prefers not to have a road along the water, but I think it's easier to stay open and see the area when you have it along the water. When you're going through a forest, you may get lost easy. But he's built a lot more roads than I have. Coming up In front of us is the southern exit of that tunnel that we just went through.
So it'll be just to the east of that road here?
It will actually goes under this road.
Gotcha.
Once we get up to this level, you can see where the entrance will be. Those rock tiles are where the entrance will be eventually. I did have it dug out at one point, but it has since caved in because I did not go through there very much.
Gotcha.
And
so Viktor's talking about right here, basically.
As with the other exit, I went up and around because the bridges are okay, but some people don't like the visual clipping of the boats going through a bridge. Looks like it's cherry blossom season. Not a real season here, but it reminds me of Japan. If you follow this road further east, you'll eventually end up at Dan Vega's place on the hill, Sky Landing, I believe it's called. But to get back to my estate, we go up the hill north. There's a mushroom. Look to your left, you can see a little mushroom by the cherry tree over there.
Little brown mushroom.
They're easier to see from a distance when you cannot, when the grass disappears, or in winter.
Yeah, I do most of my mushroom gathering during winter time, since they
As you can see, as we get closer, it's harder to see because the grass is covering that. Mushrooms will only grow on tree tiles, and they decay very quickly. So when you see one, be sure to pick it up. Some of them are good for alchemy. Oh, we have a boar. These are rare to find because they die quickly.
That's a nice shot of your central spire peeking out there.
Yes. Well, we will take a trip up the road, or up the hill, to end it with above, or a sky view. This road ends just at the bottom of the hill, at the cave, or at the clay tile. We'll go up here to get a good view for the ending. You must be careful when you climb this mountain though. You gotta watch your step because I've fallen off this and almost died. To the right you can see it start to come into focus.
Yeah, I meant to say earlier, that was a nice touch at the top of your tower with those safety barriers, because a fall at that level, you'll definitely die in one fall, I think.
Actually, I don't know if you would.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I could be wrong, but I think I fell from like the 10th floor and only took about 40 damage. in one fall, I don't think it would kill you, but if you hit more than once, it probably would. And with this view, that finishes my tour.
Cool, I'm just gonna get off real quick to stand. Very nice.
Did you end it?
Not yet. Just giving our viewers one last view of your portion of the village. So if you wouldn't mind, if you could, from this view, if you could quickly call out the different buildings for our viewers.
The building on the left is the shipyard, as you can see with the masts in it. Then the giant spire closest to the water. Behind that is the cloister made of marble. Behind that is the stables with a square roof. Then to the right you have the garage with brick walls and the pottery roof. Then you have the tavern with timber walls and wood shingle roof next to the grape and hops trellises. Then you have the tailor shop with the pottery brick walls, the red walls and the black roof. And the closest to the right you have the blacksmith shop with rounded stone walls, thatch roof, and then you have the church with sandstone walls.
So that gives you a great view of all the different types, different combinations of walls and roofs and stuff in the game now.
Yes.
So thank you so much, Viktor, for showing us around your village.
It's my pleasure.
And so, again, thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time. Thanks again. Bye.